find that link, I'll post it. I'll post it in the Jitsi after I'm done. I think we've settled around who's doing what for the most part. Max and I are going to do a lot of the stuff, so it's a lot of work to get done, sure. But I think should be able to be put together. I think Team 3 has it relatively easy. Our main goal will be to well, Kai is actually helping us deploy the Giveth thing early, so we can try to get up some initial thoughts on milestones that we'd include as a DApp, and even start hacking on it a little bit before we get there. We still need to definitely all sync up on the math and a few other tasks, but I think the design is going well, the narrative is going well, and what else do we have here? Narrative, design, integration points just need to work with Team 2 on that for the most part, and the math. But I think our scope is pretty easy. So I mean, Team 3 I think has it pretty well put together. So does anyone have any questions about Team 3 and what we're trying to do, or any requests?
Nothing that would further the discussion now, I guess.
Okay. Well, why don't you take it off then, Kai? You want to give us updates on Team 2?
Yeah, Team 2 is still suffering a bit from many distractions for the team members. There was quite a lot of stuff people have in real life or in real work life. However, we always iterate a little. We did not fulfill the design promises, but it's overall, and concerning all teams, there has been almost no progress on design. Although we want it to be finished today. There has been good progress on the narrative, because as people might know, there is when we had the call with our challenge owner, that was quite confusing for us. So we are attacking this from all kinds of angles, and so Sponhead, Griff, Chris, Josh, me are on this, and yeah, our user flows are finished. Our user stories, we're still sitting on that. We will send a new proposal to our challenge owner, Jan Peter, approximately tomorrow, and finish this today. We established a daily check-in at 9 p.m., but that's mainly for Team 2. It looks like it's a good practice to have a daily check-in in these last days before the hackathon if your team has problems coordinating. So that I wanted to share. And I think I can't think of anything else. I mean, that there's these initiatives like Math Club, and there's an interesting conversation about conviction holding initiated by Simon de la Robière on GitHub, concerning actually Ethereum rewards for developers that come through some kind of conviction voting scheme, which is interesting to check out, but not directly related. It helps us with defining the values and some of the math, though, or it seems like it pointed us to some good questions. Maybe if I forgot anything, you're also very well informed, Griff.
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it. Do you feel like the roles request that I threw in there is going to work out? There's going to be people owning each piece.
We did not really coordinate on that with the team. Like you saw, actually no response to your request, but at least as far as I'm concerned, this is absolutely needed to avoid, hey Josh, to avoid the many cooks problem, and over saltiness. So I really I will double down on this and also lobby for this in a channel that we really have accountabilities that are strong and really owners of domain owners. So it looks like Emily will own the actually scope and like technical design. I will do the integration between all of the teams and with the challenge owner. Or like the alignment with the challenge itself and connecting to other teams that are not part of our meta teams. And Sponnet will take care of the narrative probably. Sponnet will take care of the math, and Sergey will take care of design. Yeah, those are the leaders. So it's a good practice. Thanks, Griff, for initiating. Hey, Sponnet. You just missed the Team 2 update, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I said a whole lot of nothing anyway. And he's on Team 2. So now here's the good one. Team 4. Curious about, well, does anyone have any questions for Team 2? Okay, cool. Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, if anything's needed, let me know. I'm quite happy to help on anything. Just tell me what to do rather than thing. Otherwise, I'll carry on with unexpected serendipity.
Cool. Maybe.
Yeah. Can I just, sorry to be rude, but I want to just jump in with a question because I was reviewing all these pitches for the Nature 2.0 track. And so one of the things I noticed was that the people from SourceCred, they have their own team there with Zargam in it. And if you listen to their pitch, it sort of seems to overlap with what we're planning on doing. So I don't know if we should be concerned about that in any way.
Concerned
they're doing something
to collaborate.
Rather different, I think.
What?
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, I think they're doing something fairly different. They're doing graph-based stuff. It's probably closer to Team 4's resource ecology, but with questions rather than momentum voting. So it is kind of overlapping, but it's a different type of module, so it's not really something I'd say to be too concerned about, from what I understand.
Yep. No, just so that I know. Or just when I heard it was a little confusing. Like, it seems to be that's pretty closer to what we're building, and it would be pretty stupid that in the final pitch after the hackathon, we would end up like telling the same story twice almost. But if it's not the case, then it's nothing to worry about.
I think the goal is that we collaborate. I'm pretty sure that they're going to be wearing the carrot hats too, you know. So like, well, we should be all on the same page. What?
In that case, we could frame it as the second module in the.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, if anything, honestly, I feel like they're competing with Team 3 more so.
Yeah, it sounds about that way.
But I think let's move to Team 4 updates and see what's going on there.
Yeah. So we did, from the last meeting, we did manage to solve a matrix on Ethereum. Yay! So we really that was some progress there, and we have come up with a boilerplate that would be used during the hackathon, so that to build up an interface on top of it. Unfortunately, there are some bad news that we had a talk with the truck's owner, and it was pretty clear that they were not really looking for a system for tracking contribution, but more of a system for exchanging basic assets. And that has created a little bit of a, well, hit the team as a wave, let's say, where we basically started to study more their material and starting to understand what they're looking for. And we're not really sure if basically what we were discussing before was fitting their purpose. So right now, we basically the team has been coming up with alternative solutions and alternative maybe designs for basically just an exchange. And we all agree that actually that drops a little bit of the passion and the motivation that. But I guess that this is a shared thing across also all the other teams, where you basically says, "Well, we know what we want to build, but we just need to make it fit what you want from us," basically, right? So, yeah, we are also basically in that kind of situation. But let's say that we're. I think we found a way. Now we will meet later on with some of the teams. Also, the team has been meeting independently with each other. Potentially, it would be great to have actually catch-up call and see where we are at, because of course time is running. On my perspective, potentially we would drop the focus on the contribution and really focus on the exchange and building basically the resource ecology as basically a series of it's a series of proposed exchanges stacked on top of each other. So in this way, we can kind of like bridge the terminology with their terminology, and we go beyond basically what they're asking for us. So yeah, this is probably going to be by switching this this narrative, we would even have potential of collaboration with the team 3 into momentum voting, as it would be an opportunity to basically select the exchange that has the most recognized value. So this is something that maybe we should discuss between the team directly. It still has to be crystallized, since now we basically are changing the whole story. So, but I think I'm very positive we're gonna come up with a story that basically both fit the track owner and our overall purpose.
Nice. Does anyone have any questions for Team 4? Okay, cool.
Remark, I think it's conviction voting now again. That's all. And that's Team 2. I think you said Team 3, but you need to yeah,
right. Maybe also since you are coming up with a story for the Nature 2.0 track by tomorrow, maybe it would be good to have a chat post this meeting. Maybe you can just bounce it and we can see what if I have some feedback on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You can go ahead, Griffin.
Well, I was going to say, since Abby's not here yet, she won't be here for at least another 9 minutes. My guess is more like 15, because I think she's finishing up a different call. I think we could talk about Team 2's narrative for a quick second, if everyone else is down.
In that case, I might just jump in quickly for a message to Roberto on what I interpreted him saying through a bunch of gargling. If it's, I understand that they want a way to aggregate exchange pricing. Is that about right?
Well, you were in the talk as well, right? With the truck owner. Do you have that? What they want is a basic asset exchange that can be used by two different people, two just completely normal people that have no idea about crypto and anything else. So they really want us to focus on the usability and the simplicity of exchanging basic assets that are not like just currency. What I think that we should, well, but still needs to be validated by the team. So depending on how the team reacts on this, is that we are going to be able to, yes, do the exchange of assets, but also kind of do some magic when we started to stack up all these proposed exchanges into a structure, what we call the resource ecology. So then you can go beyond simply exchange of assets, but we would have also something we call a true price, which is basically the cost of every exchange that you want to do based on the resources that you're putting into it. So then there would be simply like a price that is suggested for an exchange, and then you can always give more and give less. So this was very important from the truck owner perspective. He basically said, if I want to pay a lot of money for a bottle of champagne, then I should be able to. And that's what.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay, cheers. Yeah. I'll catch up with you on that perhaps. I have a few ideas that are worth talking about, but not right now.
Right. So we can indeed like have a team meeting tonight and discuss basically the alternatives that we came up with during this last time, and potentially align our noses before the hackathon. We definitely have a regrouping to do, but I'm sure that basically as everybody kind of participate with his know-how and knowledge, I'm sure that we're going to be able to basically come together into, like, because the purpose is still the same for everyone. So we just need to change the story a little to reflect what the truck owner wants.
For sure.
Are you still going to use token bonding curves?
That's I think that as if we're going to change it into the exchange, then we probably would be using something more like the momentum or conviction voting. Basically, we would need for every DAO, we would need a way to curate the exchanges, the proposed exchange. So basically, we see an exchange as a proposal to exchange. So that then for each DAO, each of the exchange can be curated by the DAO itself and say, well, this is the best exchange that we found, right? So it becomes a sort of a community decision on what is the best and the most reliable proposed exchange. We will see if we will use the token bonding curve, because basically what is the place that they find within the DAO. But for what we need to build for the hackathon, I think that we're not going to use it during the hackathon. But yet again, it's something that we will have to discuss tonight with the team.
Very cool. Is anyone from Team 1 here yet? I just see fellow Jitzers, but I don't know who they are.
That's me. I was late. Sorry, Chris.
Oh yeah, no worries. Okay, well, while we wait for Team 1, does anyone have a topic they want to discuss?
Well, there's this still the old agenda, which was check-in, storylines, logistics, and then action items. But we can make new ones. So the next one would be storylines.
Storylines. Well, I think Team 2 is definitely still discussing their story. I wanted to go into it with Spunnet here, but maybe we'll save that for the next round. And I can say Team 3's storyline is settled on integrating. Well, at least on my side, I really hope that we can just settle on Indonesia, forests of Indonesia, and trying to integrate as many ideas from the other teams that are working on that as well. Just make milestones and campaigns for them and kind of add them into our story, our narrative, and show how they can receive funding and be nominated to receive funding by the Commons.
Chris, for Team 3, because I don't have a laptop connection right now, who's going to focus on the narrative? Is that you for the roles?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
Max and I, but mostly me.
Cool.
If you want any help, I'm more than happy to as well, mate. feel free. Otherwise,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
work with Team 2 where possible, I guess.
Well, I think during the actual thing, we'll want to push pretty hard on making milestones and campaigns that represent all the other teams that are doing things that during the hackathon. I know we have some kind of like head start on Team 3 and what everybody's doing, and Team 2 on what everyone's doing. So if we do any research in advance, we could see, like, because I have notes from the Team 3 meetup that says what every team was trying to focus on. At least that's what they were focusing on then. So, you know, we can kind of like get ideas around, you know, some of them are like, oh, AI bots that look to see if the forest is growing, you know, and there's different ways we can integrate different things into Giveth. Sometimes they can be reviewers, right, that prove whether or not a milestone happened. And sometimes they can be a milestone that receives funding or a campaign that receives funding. So there's different ways on the Team 3 side of things. And I think that the Team 3 and the Team 2 side of things is basically the same.
The external integration sounds fantastic. It'll be brilliant for us. If we're integrating all these satellite data feeds, etc., as milestone reviewers and whatever the other teams come up with. Tick off box, nice.
Cool. Anyone else have any? Oh, well, anything? I can move to logistics unless anyone has anything else on this topic.
I just wanted to mention the thing I said in the call before, that I was planning to take the story you wrote that you sent to Maria Paula and the one that Abby sent to her, combine both, and in that document, in that text, put the correct names for the teams now. Well, for the comment from Team 4 as well, and then we can publish this with like linking to all the team members that are in the different teams, so that if people want to read up before, who come to the hackathon, we have this Medium post up that explains the bigger story, and we can refer to it if we want to. And I will share it in a Google Doc before, so that people can comment on it if they want to make some changes, if they don't agree on anything, so that that it's an open document, if that makes sense to people.
Yeah. Okay, so logistics. We have the boat on the 11th. I should be able to check in at like 2 or something if people get there early. Although there's a meetup in Amsterdam that looks pretty interesting too. So it's kind of a debate on whether or not you want to go to the master classes in Groningen. I can't say that, so or go to the meetups in Amsterdam. You can kind of only do one or the other, and logistically. And I believe and we have to check out on the 16th very early in the morning, like 9 a.m. So other logistics, we have stickers that are purchased. We have construction vests, and we have little green beanies. And so we have these stickers with the carrot logo that we had. And so we'll just stick that on the beanie, and then we'll have like really solid branding for our team. Team 4, are you guys are interested in diving in with that too, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're really happy to be part of the greater picture. So I think, yeah, we feel ourselves also that our contribution is integral part of the commons stack. So yeah, we're all in.
Perfect.
I also wanted to say, like, in these terms of like what is Giveth, what is not Giveth, and how do we frame that, it might help that we like have this position of like it's a Giveth is doing the coordination basically, and it's also like the back end. So if that helps for calling it something.
Griff, I have another practical question for So there is the GitHub for the comments, and so I guess will all the teams use that as create their repos on that GitHub?
They don't have to. I mean, everyone can use whatever repo they want. I mean, it's nice if they want to, they can. But and then we need to give them permissions if whatever. But in the end, in some ways, it's just easier if everyone uses the repo they create and control. I mean, we can always fork it into into one repo if that for some reason seems like a strategic advantage.
Okay, the reason I ask is if people want to use the repo, I added a column in the contacts with GitHub name, so that is maybe an easy way for people if they want to be added to that repo and to have rights on it to do that. Just a suggestion, but if people use their own stuff, that's fine too. But it's a place to like then they can look into the other repos as well, and we have it all in one place if people want to use it. But I'm not the GitHub repo owner, so just made that as a suggestion.
Something else for logistics. Just like a quick thing. Did everybody get this email about masterclass registration, or was it only the captains?
I got it too.
Okay, you're a Jedi, so at least I will put it here in the notes. If you're interested in like any of those master classes, you will need to register as soon as possible. Yeah, and I will put the link here in the notes and in the Telegram.
So Griff, are you not joining for Zargum's masterclass? You're going to be at the boat, or
yeah, well, no, we'll just go check into the boat and then go straight to the masterclass. We should have time to do both.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's at 1:30.
Yeah, I mean we land in Amsterdam at like 7 or 9 o'clock, I think. So that we take off in Barcelona at 7:20, so we should be able to make it.
Cool.
On that note, if anybody has to spend the night of the 10th in Amsterdam, I just booked something for me. So if you want to like coordinate on that, just ping me. If you want to live near me or whatever, just saying.
Can you paste that link in the Jitsi as well, Kai?
Yeah, I will do it now.
Because it's not in the notes yet. Cool. Well, Abby says she's on her way. She's almost here. Any other things while we're waiting?
Narrative of Team 2 is still on the docket when Sponic comes back. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I can give a quick idea, but the thing is, I need Sponet to give it the thumbs up. But basically, the idea is that the underlying currency that we use, instead of XDAI, we call it Focus, and then you have a commons for each abundant resource: a commons for sunshine, a commons for friendship, a commons for air, and it's like really we have all these abundant resources. How do we decide amongst each other where to put the focus? And so we have a token bonding curve for each abundant resource, and everyone has a certain amount of focus that they can attribute to whichever abundant resource they want to help maintain and support, because we just believe that humans want to contribute to society in one way or another. And even in a world with no scarcity, there's still decisions to be made with where to put our focus. So if someone is focusing on air and no one else is really focusing on air, they'll have a larger say in the governance there. And the people who have been putting in their expertise and solving problems or maintaining the air, preventing of pollution or whatever, they would be earning the air governance tokens, which they can convert to focus if they want to take their focus and move it to sunshine, right? And this is the narrative I'm working with, but we'll see what Sponet says about it. Because he's the one who really got to talk to JP a lot with this in mind.
Cool.
I don't know. Maybe Roberto, do you have like a? You were in the track last year. Does that seem like it would fly with JP?
Yes. So like for us, so last year was called machine-to-machine economy, but the ideology was pretty much the same. You know, build something crazy, and Andy was also using the nature metaphor, and so we went to a lot of conversations basically, but we did have to switch our view, not from the transition, but for how it's going to look indeed after everything happened. So if there is a suggestion from our side after that experience, is that you really need to do some biomimicry, and using nature terms. So for instance, I don't know, like economics can become a sort of coordination, both is signaling, you know, basically just use natural metaphor instead of the normal wording. For instance, I think that pollen for bees could be an interesting metaphor, but also, especially when we're talking about signaling, maybe flocks of birds, right? In which a few birds would actually decide the direction of the entire flock because they signal it, right? So this could be, we can get pheromone trails, or you know, if you just want to use something that is like currency, then we should be talking about something like blood for the organs, right? So that, you know, it doesn't see it as a currency, but basically as a function on a bigger organism. And what he really likes is when you're actually talking about systems all the time. So how a system interacts with another system into for coordination, for basically, or more synergy, let's say. Symbiosis, that's the term I was looking for. And you know, his examples always have some machines basically doing their own things. So if you can come up with some example which showcases how the machine does it by itself without human intervention, that would be great. But of course, now it's a bit difficult with implementing all these different parts together. So if you say, well, this is the overarching system, but we're focusing only on this part, which is basically making the decision of the flock of birds or the flock of the swarms of machine from going over there to going over there, then it's, you know, this could be interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this is if you have some comments so far, some questions.
Well, I mean, what do you think about the focus idea? Would that fly, or is it, you don't think it's nature inspired enough?
You also have to, I think it's okay, just some of the terms, indeed, like when you say that the people, when we say that the people have the decision, that's actually that actually moves away from this ecosystem that works by itself, right? So basically it says, when you're looking into nature and you say, where does that happen? That somebody takes a decision and then something happens, right? So that does not happen. It's always some sort of a system going on. So it would have that to say against it. But as I say, if you can reframe it into a flock of birds, then maybe it will be able to understand it.
Okay. Came in, so let's dive into team one and hear the updates on the week and how things are going. And yeah.
Team one, you said?
Yeah, team one.
Yeah, totally.
Updates on narrative, updates on the week.
Yeah, totally. So we're still waiting on updates from Corey, who chatted with Billy and the rest of the fundraising app team that's working on Aragon. So I'll have to send that update when he sends it to me. On the design side, Will, Seth, and I are getting together hopefully today or tomorrow to kind of just blow through some Figma designs based off of the user flow. So the updates are good. I mean, we're all kind of set. We're just trying to fill out the last team. So Griff, I don't know if you got an answer from Igor. I'm waiting on an answer from this guy from Gollum. And then I also reached out to Band Protocol. I don't know if anybody has seen Band Protocol, but they did a demo on the Curation Markets call yesterday, and their visualization, their interface is so well done. And I'm trying to get them to just, come work on our team because the interface is basically like exactly what we want to do. So I think it's just trying to really fill out that team. So if anybody has any connections or updates, let me know. And if not, I'll be sending the design files through once we make some progress on them, probably through this weekend. And then I'll send the contracts update from Corey when he sends that as well.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I know the guys. Jeff and I actually had dinner with the guys from Band Protocol.
Do you know any of them personally? Because seriously, I think that getting them on the team and like maybe even just like their demo is like the most beautiful React app I've seen. It's Billy's work like times 10.
The challenge is they're all in Thailand, so maybe if we get lucky,
I know.
But
maybe if one of them was traveling or something. That's what I was trying to figure out. So I reached out to Sorwit. But if you know anybody else, that'd be really great. But if not, yes, that would be tough. But I don't know. Maybe there's something else there. Maybe there's like we could use the demo or something. I'm not sure. So,
how did you reach out to him?
I just reached out to Sorwit's Telegram.
Okay, I'll try him on. I have him on a couple things, so I'll reach out.
Yeah, if you want to try him, yeah, totally. And then feel free to loop me in to keep the conversation going with him to figure stuff out. So
I still haven't gotten anything from Igor yet, but
yeah, no problem. Cool. We'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it though, because I feel like once we get some of the designs through, and I feel like everybody feels way better about the product one spec, the team one spec than we did earlier this week. So
that you're gonna kind of pitch to you, because you had the meeting with the track, so I'm curious if the narrative has solidified.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the narrative for the track is super aligned. We also, I think, recorded that call so I can send it to everybody. The narrative for track one is like very much so aligned with what we want to build. I mean, they're coming from trying to restructure the way that equity investing is done, the way that we can invest in and communities can invest. It's just like so aligned with everything. So I can actually I'll send their track description that then I took notes on and kind of showed like where we fit in that we went through during the call. So that I think that encompasses like what our conversation was about. They're definitely really excited about our project. They're excited. They also laid out like what questions they want us to answer. I feel primed that we'll be able to answer those questions. And I don't know if Josh is on the call, but Josh can give some more color into that too, of like where they were. But overall, I feel like it's a really good track fit, and I'm excited that our narrative will kind of be really good for them.
Well, what are you going to focus on? One thing? Are you going to keep it general? Like, what is your narrative?
Well, the narrative is, what do you mean by focusing on one thing? I think like, that
like, are you going to say we're going to create a commons for Indonesian rainforests, or are you going to say we're going to create a general common stack that anyone can use for anything, or like how are you going to pitch it?
From my understanding, I think that it would be better to take the more general approach of this is a new community funding model that can apply to all these different use cases, but here is how it works as part of the stack, right? and being able to show the interface points between team 2, between the other teams, because their questions is that they want to be able to see how this, the augmented, the fundraising, the financing mechanism could fit into the greater scheme of a larger community funding model. And so I think taking the broader approach instead of leaning into one specific narrative, like we can touch on, if we want a specific use case narrative thread to go through, we can, and we can do that. But I think that spec wise, it should be focusing on showing how this can be used as in general, a model and a system throughout different use cases. That was that's my impression after coming out of the call with them.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah, I think the augmented bonding curve is a really strong narrative for track, the scaling ecosystems track. I think that's exactly what they're looking for, and they are looking for the generic. It's great that it ties into our other teams' work, but I think that is probably one that most people are excited about, the augmented bonding curve, not necessarily, a specific Indonesian rainforest or, nature biomimetic. They're not looking for that kind of stuff. It's great that it ties in with those, which I think leads to the broader appeal of our whole team. But I think the augmented bonding curve is fits that track very well.
Sorry, yeah, off there, but I agree with what you were saying, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, every track, every team needs to find out their own specific narrative, and I was just curious to know what's going on. Well, cool. Does anyone else have any questions for Team 1?
One question, the missing person, just any updates? Griff or Abby? Griff on probably Igor, and Abby on whatever, no?
Yeah, I was just saying that so our ideal is getting Igor. One backup that I'm looking into right now is one of the developers from Gollum who lives in Amsterdam. And then we were trying to maybe get one of the band protocol guys, but they are in Thailand, but that's another. And then just keep looking for any, developers that we have in Amsterdam. So I have people looking out for us, but haven't come across anybody who's in yet.
The only problem I see is that every single member should have been registered by the 31st. But yeah, so just saying. They're usually harder with communication than with follow through. So just wanted to note this.
For sure, they're not going to disqualify us if we bring someone in at the last minute. They'll be happy about it.
Yeah, same. I think our track, specifically our track people too, understand that. So.
No word back from David Turong, Griff?
He said he can. He said he's not going to, which is too bad because I know he's doing that meetup the day before, right?
In Amsterdam?
I think so, yeah. I think, isn't he the one running the meetup that you're going to, Abby?
Sorry, who? David?
David Strong?
The one that I'm going to is Luke. Luke is the name of him. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't heard of it, David, but maybe he is. I can check the meetup schedule.
What's the meetup? I know I saw it.
It's what Zargam threw to the group that was just about, I think it's just the blockchain talks in Amsterdam. So I was just going to go and talk. And Jeff, if you want to be in Amsterdam too, that I was just already going to be in Amsterdam until the 12th. So if you want to come and do that too, just let me know. But I think it's just a casual meetup. And then Beth from Team 4 is going to be doing a talk and a workshop as well.
Nice. I think I might be in Groningen again already. I think I'm going to be there on the 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to work with Zargam on his masterclass. Well, unless there's any other questions anyone wants to connect on, I think we can call it.
One question only. I don't think that anybody has an overview of masterclass, but any recommendations of things you were highlighting. Of course, Michael Sargam's talk, which would be beneficial for probably everybody, but other recommendations?
Yeah, it's really too bad because I want to go to like 3 of the first ones, but none of the second ones.
Okay.
I ended up picking parity substrate just because I don't know anything about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for if you're in team 2 or you want to discuss team 2's narrative, we're having that call right after this. But hey, we can have a 5-minute break. I know I'm excited about taking it. So we'll see you guys.
Cool.
We'll
Sounds
see you
good.
guys in 5 minutes.
Back in here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave my and go get some breakfast.
I have to go on a
Same.
call, but then I'll probably hop on and just be a fly on the wall and see if I can help. So talk to you guys soon.
Thanks,
Cool.
Abby.
See you guys in a bit.
Thanks, guys, for coming.
Thanks. I will dump the notes, and the video live stream worked, by the way. See you later.
Hey, thanks, man. I figure we just wait for Spunnet.